Well, this is it. The whole journey, the whole path, the whole adventure. Okay. I want to review the entire path for you. So again, if you are trying to get to a scalable business, and if you want some support on it, go to blairsinger.com/plan. We can work with you one-on-one a little bit. But for right now, here on this video, I'm going to go through the entire process one more time in brief. We spent each session taking one step at a time, all 8 steps of the process. Now we're just going to put the whole piece together with a few comments that come along. So first of all, thank you for being here. If you have any comments, type them in the comment section. I'll do my best to address them. But thank you. I just did a podcast this morning with a gentleman by the name of Dan Album, and we talked about teachers as leaders. And it's important to do this. It's important to understand this because to understand it from a teaching and a learning perspective, you're learning, your team's going to learn. Okay. So keep in mind, nobody expects anybody to already know this, but it's a work in process. It's also an interesting time because we're forming our next expedition to Kilimanjaro. And so as we get ready for it, I'm reminded that to get to Kilimanjaro, to the summit in the middle of July, now we are in January, the training starts now. And it's a step-by-step process, just like it is with your business. Don't get over anxious. One of the biggest things that stops people from getting what they want is impatience. And impatience is sometimes viewed as a good thing. Well, he's impatient, he's aggressive, all that stuff. But, the bad part about that is that your impatience does not let nature take its course. You got to, as Matt Newton always says, you got to do your work, and let nature take its course, and understand that resistance will come in there and try to get you to stop doing your work. So understanding that, and let me repeat that again. Okay. You got to, if you achieve anything, a scalable business, finding the love of your life, getting in great health, whatever it is going to require work. That's first of all. So you got to do your work one step at a time, let nature take its course so you will evolve and get to your outcome, and beware that resistance is going to come in and try to stop you from doing what you're supposed to be doing and distract you in lots of different ways. It'll create distractions, it'll create resistance, create all kinds of things that will stop you. And that's the nature of any project, not just building a business. This is about anything. If you get nothing else, just understand, if you can just understand that. Greetings from Vietnam. I got a few people coming in from Vietnam. So again, be aware of all that. Okay. So let's start from the beginning. I'm going to take you right through the whole process. It's all sitting right here behind me. We start over here. We start right here with the first step before we start up the mountain. First step is your mission. What is your mission and what is it you want? Why? Because first of all, your mission should be bigger than you. It should be attractive enough. It should be bigger than you because that you'll also use it to recruit from, because people want to be part of something bigger than themselves. They want something, your code of honor, your rules, get people to aspire to be somebody bigger than they are today, who they would always hope they would be. That's first piece. But the second part of the mission and what you want, what is first, is because many people down the road, 5-10 years down the road in your business, and congratulations if you stay in business that long, look around and say, the engine that I built here is not what I want. That's not giving me the lifestyle I want. So in the beginning, what do you want? And by the way, it's never too late to call a timeout and say, what is it you want? What is a lifestyle that you want to have, really want to have somewhere 5, 10, 20 years out in the future, and work your way back from that? Because if you don't do that, you cannot blame your business and you can't blame your team for something that you didn't design properly in the beginning. Okay, so didn't design properly in the beginning. So remember that. It's step one. What do you want? And get real clear about it. As clear as you can be, because it will always change. Okay, step number 2 right here. Get an honest assessment of where you are. Assessment. Where are you? What are your resources? What do you have? Do you have money? Do you not have money? How much money do you need? Do you have teams? Do you have expertise? Do you have the knowledge? What An honest assessment. Like I say, the first step of losing weight is to step on the scale, assess where you are. First step of building a business is check your finances. If you already have a business, pull a financial statement. If you don't have a financial statement, learn how to create one and get one quickly before you start. And then take a look at where you are, where you want to go, and what's the gap in between. What's the gap in between? And you got to don't be delusional. So many people, I've been this in the past, we're idealistic, we're impatient, we want it now and we want it big. And you just got to temper that with a little bit of patience. Okay. And don't be delusional. You know what that means? That means pretending like it's all going to be good. All you got to do is visualize it. Okay. So it's a bit more than that. So now that you know where you are, where you want to go, okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to, step number 3 over here, you're going to create the plan. Okay, we're going to plot this out. We're going to plan our course up Kilimanjaro. We're going to plan our course to the scalable business. And again, don't get impatient with it. We taught you, we had you learn a little bit about PERT, Project Evaluation Review Technique. And by the way, if you're interested in that, we have a self-study guide and a kit that you can design your own PERT charts for anything that you want to do. Just again, go to blairsinger.com. And we're going to have that. It's not released yet. It'll probably be released in the next 30 days. Okay. So you'll have the ability to do that, but create a plan, put it on the wall so you can see it's with timelines and all that stuff. So it keeps you on track, So you got to have a plan, because a failure to plan is a plan to fail. Say it again. A failure to plan is a plan to fail. Now I don't like planning that much because it's cumbersome to me, but I've learned over the years to discipline myself to do it. I know that when I'm going to Kilimanjaro, that I need to get X number of miles in every week. And I need to get a certain amount of elevation in every week. And I need to work out so much every week. And I take it one step at a time. I'll be by the time I get to June, I'm going to be doing much longer hikes than I'm doing right now. Okay. So again, be patient. Okay. And don't allow your impatience to get in the way of nature taking its course. Okay. All right. Now you got the plan. Step number 4 over here, right here. If you can see that, is that now that you know where you're going, who's going to be on your team? Because any kind of a scalable business, any kind of a project, anything that is of value is going to require a team. Okay. Otherwise, what happens is, and you've heard Joe DeMaria, one of my friends, talk about this, is that many companies that are able to survive make it to about 1.2 million or whatever, and then they can't get past it because they don't really have a team. Okay, we'll talk about resistance in a second, which we talked about earlier. Okay, so now who's the team? Marketing team, sales team, accounting team, legal team. And what do? We use the BI triangle, the cash flow, Rich Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, BI triangle, right? The BI triangle. It's mission, team, leadership, product in the internal contents, the product, the legal, the systems, the communication, and the cash flow. Okay. And we use that as our guide. And again, in our PERT guide, all of that is outlined in exactly how to lay that out in your plan. Okay, so who's on your team? Who are the people that fill in these various components of the BI triangle? If you're trying to do it yourself, it's going to be very, very difficult. Okay, what's next? By the way, before I get off a team, the other thing about team is if you're a solopreneur, this is not an easy task to start to bring other people in. I don't have enough money. Why would somebody want to work with me anyway? My plan is not far enough in development. All these little voice issues that come into play. Understand that there are people that will work with you at every step of the way. The accountant, for example, or the bookkeeper that you have today when you're working alone may not be the same bookkeeper you have 3 or 4 years from now, because your needs are different. Maybe they are included, but maybe you've helped them by adding more people to their teams. Okay. So again, don't think that you're too small or you're too big or you're whatever to do this, you got to have a team. It's probably one of the biggest resistance that people have, because if I want it done right, I'm going to have to do it myself. Okay. All right. Good. Excellent. So now we go from, you're going to develop your team. Based on the team, we're going to work on sales. Big lesson in scaling this business. In scaling the business, you're going to learn that you can't scale the whole business at one time. But you got to take one element of the business and scale it. So let's say, for example, sales. Sales equals income, right? And you have to teach people how to sell. So whatever the process is for making a sale, if you're doing all the sales, document that process. How many steps is it? Okay. Are those efficient steps? Monitor each one. What are your, if you get leads from Facebook ads, let's say, how many of those leads actually turn into appointments, and how many of those appointments actually turn into business, and how many appointments does it take to get the business, and how much is, and so you understand all that and work it until you get it to a fine-tuned machine. Now document, and now begin to train one person to do it. What am I talking about? Scale your sales piece first. Okay. How do we make sales so that if all of a sudden you had 5,000 leads, that you could easily add a few more salespeople to the thing and it would grow without blowing up the system? Scaling simply means, just so we know, scaling simply means that you can add more volume and more growth to your business without it self-destructing. I mean, for example, everybody says, I love to have a big deal. Yeah, you get a big deal, or all of a sudden you get 50 orders, or you get, a couple multi-million-dollar contracts, and you can't fulfill it because you haven't scaled the business to be able to deliver. Okay. Now, how do you scale it? I'll say it again, like on Killy, one step at a time. Take the components of your business. Okay. The legal, the sales, the marketing, all the systems that are involved in product development and fulfillment, and take them one at a time, isolate them, and get each machine to run. Okay, we got that scale. So now we need to work on our marketing. So we need to make sure that our lead generation is also a machine that can continue to churn more leads. And if we add more ads, we get more leads, we add more ads, more leads, but we also have more salespeople that can handle those leads, et cetera, so the thing scales itself. Now, I'm not saying you have to have thousands of salespeople. You might only have one or two, and maybe later you'll have a team of 4 or 5. That's fine if that's the type of scaling that you're talking about. Okay. Is this making sense? Hopefully. Okay. And if you have questions, thank you, Mindful Chemistry Learning. I'm happy to see you as well. I'm glad this is making sense to you. Okay. So again, that's our definition of scaling, but it's also about going from your team to managing sales. The next step is resistance. Remember, we said in the beginning is that it's about finding out what you want, doing the work, and letting nature take its course, and watching out for resistance that's going to step in and try to stop you. So by this time, as you're scaling the mountain, when we're on the mountain, as you start to get to altitude and you get a little lightheaded or maybe a little nauseous, your resistance starts coming up. Oh my God, maybe the altitude's getting to me. And now is a time to learn how to, if you haven't, be practicing on how to manage that little voice between your ears. First of all, understand it is just your little voice. How do you know that it's just your little voice? Because you have other guides and people on your team that can support you. Say, you're okay. This is just your head working on it. Same thing in business. Make sure you have mentors. Make sure you have guides. Make sure you continue to study. Because what will happen is the resistance of going from the known of where you are today into the unknown world of a scalable business, all kinds of resistance is going to come up. Resistance like, well, there's already ideas out there. There's already business out there. There's already competition out there. There's already obstacles in your way because you're going into a place that's already occupied at some level. So that's resistance. The other resistance, though, is, like I said, your internal resistance. There's too many things to do. I'm not going to get them all done. I'm not good enough. This part's not working. I got to throw this out. And you get impatient. You get distracted. The way you know that you've got resistance happening is when all of a sudden everybody else seems to be doing better than you, and you keep wanting to jump to the next idea, the next form of marketing, the next way of selling, the next way of structuring your business. Don't do that. That's resistance just trying to distract you. Okay? Stay calm, conscious, calm, grateful for the process that you're in, one step at a time. Take each step of your business. And again, by the way, this doesn't have to take forever, but in the beginning, it'll take until you get used to getting a system to work, it'll take a little bit of time. Okay. Training up a sales team is no joke. And then getting them to do well and to document it so that you can drop somebody else in if you need somebody else new, or if you need to replace somebody. Those are all things that are part of scaling. Okay. So to make it work. Okay. So again, dealing with resistance, little voice mastery. Hey, Taiwo, good to see you. Sometime in the late afternoon in the UK. Good to see you. All right. Now we're dealing with resistance. And then I said, step number 7 is education, or being a great teacher and leader. I did a podcast today on that with a gentleman, and said that the big game changer for entrepreneurs is to in this decade that we're in right now, is to understand that as a business owner, you're not just a leader, you're going to have to be a teacher. Why? Because most of the things that people want to learn are not taught in school, and the things that people learn in school are actually counterproductive if in a business. For example, like how to collaborate, how to communicate, that stuff's just not even taught. So to be able to set yourself up as a teacher leader, and by the way, in sales, this happens as well. Since COVID, people seem to gravitate not toward the best product necessarily. They gravitate toward the organization or the people that they view as having great wisdom. My friend Simon Bowen calls them sages. They want to be around you because they perceive that you have great knowledge and experience to share, and you have the ability to teach, and you have the ability to empower them. So it's true in sales and marketing, but it's also true in your business. You got to be a great teacher and leader. Some of the greatest leaders throughout history have given us great wisdom. But unlike it was back in the early 2000s, particularly since March of 2020, when the education system got thrown on its backside, when we all got locked down, it basically revealed the fact that our education system does not prepare people for the workplace, doesn't prepare them for life, doesn't prepare them for anything except prepares them to learn how to comply, to follow rules and do as they're told. And that's it. And that could be positive, but that also can be negative. I'm not going to get into that right now. So that's why you have to be the leader. You have to be the teacher. A person comes into your organization, whether they're in sales and marketing, bookkeeping, systems, operations, whatever it is that they're doing. And by the way, when I say all those things, that doesn't mean you have like 20 people here and 20 people there and 20 people. It could be, one person in the beginning, one person may hold 2 hats. Okay. The person that's product development may also be running your operation. And somebody that's doing customer service may also be monitoring systems and maybe doing some bookkeeping. So again, don't get caught up that I have to have a person for each position on my team yet. Okay. All right. So what I'm saying is that as people come into your organization, if you want to keep them, if you want them to grow with you, if you want to build a business, okay, then they have to perceive that by being in the business, they're going to grow as an individual. They're going to grow as an individual. I use the Marine Corps. I did not serve, but I use the Marine Corps as an example. People join the Marine Corps. Why? Okay. Not for the pay, because they don't pay hardly anything. And not because it's a safe, secure job, because you put yourself in harm's way. So why? Because there's a very strong mission, and because there's a code of honor that assumes that if you can make it and become a United States Marine, then you're going to have to become a bigger, better version of yourself. Okay. So the question is, are you as a leader able to instill that in other people based on your mission? Because it's going to be bigger than you. Hopefully it's a bit bigger than you, something you cannot do by yourself. Number one. So they have to aspire to something bigger, but the code of honor, portrays a behavior, a set of behaviors that raises the standards for everybody. Okay. And how are they going to learn how to do that? Because you're going to teach them. And why? Because you're learning it yourself. You don't have to be the expert on things to teach things. You have to be at least a student of them and learning them yourselves and sharing what you're learning with your team and your staff. Back in the day when I had an air freight trucking company, I had 30 people on my team, and these guys, most of them never even been to high school. So half of them, not half of them, but about a third of them didn't even speak English. And so my job is to teach them how to do their job properly, how to work together as teams. We had a code of honor, a set of standards that we live by that not only attracted great people, but kept them in our organization. And when we faced adversity, we locked arms and we dealt with it together, which is what we do now with our Blair Singer Training Academy all over the world. Okay. So again, becoming I put this closer to the top. There. Yeah. Right up here. Why? Because it's something that will evolve over time. You got to tell yourself, I'm a great teacher. I'm a great leader. I'm a great teacher and leader. I'm a leader and a teacher. Okay. And you empower people. Otherwise, it will always be you, and you'll stay way down here in the flatland somewhere, hoping one day that you could get a lucky break. There's no lucky breaks to a scalable business. It takes work, and work is a good thing, and you should enjoy it. Mac Newton always says, there's two parts to every journey or every adventure here, like this one. There's the adventure itself, and there's a preparation for it, for the adventure. And you got to learn to love both parts of it. You'd be great at it. Okay, so become a great teacher and leader. And of course, step number 8 is then to scale the business. Now, if you've been doing everything along the way, hopefully the pieces are in place, the engines are in place, and you begin to bring them together and look at the pieces that are not quite running that way, and to begin to now look at opportunities of different ways of scaling. In other words, you can scale your sales, you can scale your marketing, you can scale your product development. You can scale how you fulfill it. Like if you're in training and part of the way you're going to scale is by training more coaches. Okay. So you get that process down until you can just take a coach and say, look, in 90, which is what we do now, is in 90 days, I can get you up to speed to be able to deliver this, and this, and generate this kind of income. By the way, if you want to learn how to do this, just watch this video again, or go to YouTube and watch this video, or watch each individual section, where I go into more detail about it. But if you really want some help, go to blairsinger.com/plan and sit down and make an appointment, fill out the survey, see if you qualify, and sit down and with one of our guides, and we'll start to create your plan for you. Okay. Help you out with that. So scale. There's many ways to scale. Again, going back to step number 8, you can scale through joint ventures. You can scale through acquisitions of other companies. But you can bring in technology. You can buy technology. You can hire a sales team, or you can acquire a sales team. So there are lots of ways of scaling, and any one of them will work. It's just all of them at the same time will not work. Okay, so pick one and continue to grow it and continue to build it. One of the biggest things about being a teacher leader, and as you begin to start with the step, I think, 4 building your team, is to understand that part of your job as a leader is to create more leaders. So along the way, you're always grooming people, educating, because you're a teacher leader, educating them on how to lead, how to do what you do, maybe do what you do even better than you do it, and how to take on those tasks. I watched a video of a favorite entrepreneur of mine who basically said that he's built a business where he groomed leaders that are actually able to take his business to places that he couldn't do it. That's the sign of good scalability. When the scaling engines of the people and the processes and the systems that you put in place are actually able to outperform you in just about every area, you've done a good job. You've done a great job. And now you're in a power position. Now you're in that place where you work on your business, you support it, you give it new direction, but you're not a slave to the business. You're out of the rat race and you're doing the things that you love doing, not without adversity, not without challenges, not without problems, but with the view that every challenge that you fix and face grows you a little bit bigger, as opposed to every challenge that you face threatens to put you out of business, which is kind of what happens at the bottom end of the adventure. Okay. So again, if you have any questions, Brooke, thank you. Yes, this is about leadership. Mindful chemistry. Yes, Blair is actually taking a lot of work. What have you taught is helping to keep going? What you have taught is helping to keep going. Okay, good. Thank you. I'm glad of that. Because all of you if you're watching this thing still, you have a dream or you've had a dream. And that dream deserves to see the light of day. And that dream deserves to be bigger than you. And that dream deserves to help and support hundreds and thousands, maybe even thousands of other people that maybe you've never even met yet. We're living in precarious times. But in the interview today, somebody asked me, am I optimistic or pessimistic of the future? And I'm optimistic. If we can be patient enough, take the journey step by step, do the work, let nature take its course, avoid the resistance and avoid the distractions that are also resistance, we will move into to what I call a golden age where we'll be all living at a higher standard of living than the highest standard of living ever available on this planet. Why? Because technology is taking us there. Our ability to communicate is taking through media and in this format is taking us there. What needs to happen is we need to be able to have the mental little voice capabilities of mental health to be able to weather the storm and to be able to deal with all of that. That's going to be the challenge. So again, stay focused to your journey. Just like I think it was in the Iliad or in the Odyssey when Odysseus had to tie his sailors to the mast as they went past the island of the Sirens that wanted to woo him and take him off course, and they wanted to break the ties and fall in love with the Sirens and crash the ship on the rocks and avoid or destroy the very journey that they were on. I mean, it's a problem that humans have had for thousands of years, as told in that fable. So keep yourself strapped to the mast is what I'm trying to say. Keep focused, one step at a time, one step up the mountain at a time, and do it with the people that you like. Do it with the people that you love learning with and learning from. Become a holistic learning unit, and you'll get there. We'll all get there. Patience. Also, I'll repeat it one more time. Do the work. Let nature take its course. Stay patient and watch for resistance when it comes in and obtain the skills to ward it off. That's true for anything that you do. Okay. So if you have questions, watch this video again, subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's a ton of videos on how to do more specifics in all these areas and all these 8 steps in the area of sales and teams and leadership. And go to blairsinger.com where you can find a lot of this information for free. We have an amazing virtual training academy there, and go to blairsinger.com/plan and make an appointment, and let's sit down and talk about your journey and your adventure and make it happen for you. Okay. Be amazing. Be awesome.